Hello and welcome to Experiencing Love. I'm your host, Philip Jocks, and I'm so glad that you're here. Very soon, I'm about to be a crew member for a Tony Robbins event called Unleash the Power Within in Germany, and it's going to be an absolute blast. The reason I bring it up is because there's something they say within the crew and at the event. You will know exactly what you need to know before you need to know it. I think about what that line means, because at face value, it's quite simple. It means that if you don't know something, don't worry, you're going to find out. You're going to have all the information you need at the time that you need it. But when I dissect it, when I look deeper into it, I realize its power, its magic, really. It has the power to calm people down. It has the power to create certainty in a time of uncertainty. What does it do for me? It brings me this belief that everything will work out exactly how it's supposed to. If there's something that I don't know now in my life, it's because I don't need to know it right now throughout my life. Because this goes beyond just this event. Something like this idea, this value, this belief is powerful when you take it outside of this bubble that is a seminar, that is a class, that is an experience. If you're anything like me, it's really easy to compartmentalize your life. It's easy to look at different experiences and different events as their own separate things. But I've found some really powerful observations, some really powerful lessons when I allow those walls to break down and bleed into the other areas of my life. There are these buzzwords, the term work-life balance, right? I used to really believe in work-life balance, trying to find the line between being in my work mode and being in my life mode, outside with friends, whatever it may be. But then I discovered the concept of work-life integration, where you learn to make life a part of work and work a part of your life. And people brush up against that. Weirdly, sometimes people don't like that idea. And the reason I like it is because when it really comes down to it, if you love what you do, it will become a part of your life. If you don't want to mix work and life, it may just be because you're doing something either at work or in your life that doesn't meld with who you are as a person. You don't want to mix the two. But if you can learn to make them one and the same, where you may incorporate your family into what you do for work, or in other words, what you do for your mission. And if you love what you do at work, you can bring that home. Teach your kids or your family lessons and give them important experiences that they can use to succeed. Because it's not about separating them. It's not about balancing them out. It's about putting them together so they flow together. So to circle back, you will know exactly what you need to know before you need to know it. I guarantee you there's questions you have right now that are unanswered. I guarantee you that there's things you wish you knew that you don't. It may be wanting to know how to do something. It may be details to events in your life or details on how to have a specific experience. I don't know. The point is you don't know it because you're not meant to know it just yet. You're not meant to know it, or should I say, up until this very point, you haven't been meant to know it, right? At that point, it's not really so much as why you're not meant to know it, and more so the fact is you don't have the skill set. You don't have the knowledge. You weren't supposed to have it. If you were, you would have had it by now. But right now is the moment where you can choose that it is time for me to know this information. It's time for me to go looking. It's time for me to go searching, to go testing. You will know exactly what you need to know before you need to know it. Does not mean that it's just going to drop into your lap. Not always. Sometimes it does. Sometimes you're waiting on a response from a team member, a boss, or an employee. It might be waiting for a response from a family member or a friend or a stranger. But sometimes if it's a skill, it means you haven't been put in the situation. You haven't had the opportunity to really learn it until right now, until this desire that you have right now to learn something new, to grow, to expand. You have this desire right now because it's a call for you to find that information. I often find people regretting the past because of things they didn't know back then. And I get it. People have this idea of how their life could have been different. They think that they could avoid the pain and the struggle that they've been through. But here's the truth. There will always be change, meaning there will always be a level of discomfort. And if there's that level of discomfort, it's going to come with a bit of pain. So that pain is undeniable. It's unavoidable, really. But the pain isn't bad. The pain, that discomfort, that feeling of maybe tightness in your chest or sweaty palms, it's not a bad thing. It's a sign that you're expanding, that your body's growing, your mind is growing. Our bodies may stop growing after, a certain age, whatever that may be, 18, 20, I don't know. But your mind and your spirit, your soul, that keeps growing for your entire life. Just because we don't see physical changes as easily later in life doesn't mean they don't happen, and doesn't mean that our mind isn't growing rapidly. Be open, be welcome to change. And just because something happened in your past doesn't mean it would have been any easier if you had the information you have now back then. No, instead, I look at it as more of a situation where you were supposed to not know. You were supposed to embrace the uncertainty. You were supposed to make the decisions you were supposed to make, because without that, you wouldn't be who you are right now. This information you have now, well, it's not guaranteed that if you knew it back then that you would have the same outcomes you have now just earlier. No, it may very well be that you're actually in a completely different place, a completely different direction. And we will never know if that's for better or worse. But if you're averse to change now, don't you think it would still be uncomfortable to have your life completely change in that way? And I guess you'll never know how it's changed because you wouldn't know what your life is now. I'm getting so off topic, so apologies for that. But really, whatever information you're missing, whatever skill, whatever experience you don't have, if you're meant to have it, then it's coming. And it's coming sooner than you think. I find myself in these moments in life where I think it's time for me to know something. I think it's time for me to learn something. And it's so funny because I will go out and I will fight, I will struggle, I will find any shred of evidence that I'm ready for this information. And then I don't get that information. I don't learn, I don't grow, in the sense that whatever skill I was looking to get, I don't have it. And I could tell I don't have it because of how much resistance I have against it. Now, it's easy to say, Philip, there's always going to be resistance. Well, that's true, but there's a level to how much resistance there is that shows me whether or not I'm going in the right direction. Because I've had so many experiences in my life where I tried to learn something and I kept going and I kept learning and I kept reading and I kept watching and I kept doing all these things. And there was just something that wasn't clicking. And so I put it on the back burner. I don't want to say I fully gave up, but I left it on the shelf. I didn't think about it for a while. And then, lo and behold, months later, when I've stopped thinking about it altogether, the final piece clicks in and all that resistance goes away. One of the huge ones was me recording videos for this podcast. I started this podcast at the beginning of this year, 2025. In 2024, I've tried maybe 3 or 4 times to figure out video content for me because I believed back then, oh yeah, I should be recording video. I should be posting video. And all I really did was learn what I didn't like, which was also important information, don't get me wrong. But I struggled and it was so hard. And each time I would give up for months at a time before trying again, doing something different, and it not working. And I could not understand why. Then I started this podcast and I decided, hey, you know what? Let me just do audio only. The first, maybe 4 or 5 months of this show is all audio only. I started out on Spotify. Now it's found on YouTube as well, and all the other podcasting platforms like Apple Music and Amazon and all that stuff. But the point is, I was so against video for so long until a day came around where I found a video online. And that video pointed me to a product that I didn't know existed. And that product helped me edit my videos, helped me do what I was doing in my audio, but for video as well. And when I did that, everything came together. I'm now so embracing of video. I post multiple videos every single day because back then I wasn't meant to have the information, the knowledge to create videos. Maybe back then the product already existed, but it was in a earlier form, a lesser form, one that wouldn't have worked for me anyways. I choose to believe that the product grew, so did I. I became comfortable just speaking without worrying about how I looked or what I was doing. And once I became comfortable speaking and comfortable recording myself and posting it, then the video part came. Last year when I was doing video, I was constantly worried about how my hair was looking and how I looked in the camera and making sure the video seemed smooth when I was doing these cuts, and it was so miserable for a long time. And now I have the information, I have the skills, I have the experiences to be here, to record, to post, and care less about how I look, care less about how the video is shown, and care more about what's the message I'm trying to give people, what's the information I'm trying to share, how am I trying to help people today, how am I trying to show them my love. That lesson was so crucial for me to learn before I started doing videos. I know back then I would have been so hung up about analytics. I would have looked at the numbers and said, oh my gosh, this video didn't do well. It's probably because this looked bad and this sounded terrible and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I would have made so many different excuses and I would have given up. I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I just put it to the side knowing that the information will come later. And that's just one example of many times in my life that something like this has happened. Something like I try to learn something, it's not the time, it doesn't work, it keeps breaking on me, only to try solving a different problem and finding the solution there. Finding the solution to both problems somewhere else entirely. It's these experiences that have shown me that it's okay to wait. It's okay to solve a different problem, go a different path, because you will know exactly what you need to know before you need to know it. And I think that's so cool. I think it's cool to think that way because the pressure's just off. It's gone. Constantly looking for ways to take the pressure off my shoulders because for most of my life, I put all of the pressure on my shoulders and I was weighed down. I experienced very difficult moments of depression and anxiety and isolation and loneliness, and it was all because I had this belief that I needed to put it all on me. I needed to fight through everything that I was experiencing. So I'm glad I learned that there's multiple ways to get to the same solution. There's multiple ways to learn, to experience life, and I don't have to struggle as hard as I was. There's two types of struggle, the good kind and the bad kind, or I guess some people call it stress. There is good stress that helps us get stronger, helps us learn, helps us grow, and then there's the stress that breaks us down. I had the breakdown stress, and now I have the build me up stress. So if there's any wisdom that I could impart on you today, I want you to just know that whatever you're looking for is coming, and it's probably coming in a way that you don't expect, that will actually surprise you. So be open to surprises. Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, and keep your heart open. I guarantee you it's coming, whatever you need. Just don't be afraid. Show up with love. So until then, I hope you have maybe a carefree day today, honestly. Every once in a while, it's okay to be carefree and to let loose, to trust that God and the universe has your back and knowing that it'll be all right. Just remember to always fill up with the love. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. I love you.